I found something that my brain loves by doing something that I didn't. And at first, it felt kind of awful, but then everything in my head started feeling clearer, like someone had wiped off a foggy mirror. I had more energy, my mood improved. I stopped needing 3 cups of coffee just to function. And here's the crazy part: I hadn't changed my diet, I wasn't taking supplements, I hadn't even been getting more sleep. And the science behind it blew my mind. And it might just change the way you think about what your brain really needs. Because as it turns out, your brain loves this one thing, even if you don't. And in this video, I'll show you what it is, why it works, and how to make it part of your everyday life. Okay, ready for me to reveal this life changing mood lifting miracle? You might not like this, but it's called discomfort. And before you roll your eyes and click away, let me explain why this isn't the same old just get out of your comfort zone advice. I started digging into the science, and here's what I found. Discomfort isn't just something you survive, your brain actually thrives on it. So let's start with neuroplasticity. You've probably heard the term before, it has become a bit of a buzzword. But what most people don't realize is how you activate it and why that matters so much. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself, to create new pathways, strengthen old ones, and adapt to new situations. It's the reason you can change habits, pick up new skills, and bounce back from setbacks. But here's the important part. One of the most powerful ways to activate neuroplasticity is by doing something unfamiliar, something challenging, something that stretches you. In other words, things that are inherently uncomfortable. Now, that could mean trying a new skill you're convinced you'll be bad at, or signing up for an event that scares you, maybe taking on a physical challenge that tests your limits, or even traveling somewhere totally outside your routine. And here's why it matters long term. Every time you push yourself in these ways, you're not just making a temporary change, you're building something called cognitive reserve. Think of it like a brain savings account. Every challenge is a deposit, creating extra neural pathways your brain can rely on later in life. The more reserve you have, the better protected you are against cognitive decline, dementia, and Alzheimer's, because you literally built more backup routes in your brain. Now, neuroplasticity is only one part of the story. Your brain also has something called BDNF, brain derived neurotrophic factor. Think of it like miracle grow for your neurons, helping them grow, stay healthy, and form stronger connections. Higher levels are linked to better memory, faster thinking, and they may even protect against long term decline. While lower levels show up in depression and cognitive dysfunction, things like trouble focusing or memory lapses or just feeling mentally foggy. Now, the good and bad news is that activities that feel physically or mentally uncomfortable, things like intense exercise, cold exposure, meditation, or even fasting, they can give your BDNF levels a serious boost. But BDNF isn't the only thing in your brain that responds to challenge. Your dopamine system, the part that drives motivation and focus, changes too. When you chase comfort, quick fixes like scrolling or sugar, you're spiking your dopamine fast, but it crashes just as quickly. But accomplishing hard things, that workout you didn't want to do, or the never ending project that you finished, or the challenge that you saw through, these create a steadier, deeper dopamine release. You feel more motivated and less dependent on cheap highs. That's dopamine recalibration. It's your reward system getting back into balance. And the path to it goes right through discomfort. But it's not just about your brain chemistry. Discomfort also changes you psychologically. It makes you stronger, not in some motivational poster way, but in actual measurable ways. There's a concept called psychological flexibility, and it basically means you can feel hard things without falling apart. You can sit with uncertainty. You can ride out a craving. You can be scared and still move forward. And the more often you face discomfort willingly, the more flexible you become. It's kind of like emotional strength training. You learn that feelings don't have to control your actions. They're real, but they're not permanent, and they're not the boss of you. This is the foundation of therapies like CBT and ACT. There's also something called behavioral activation, where instead of waiting to feel motivated, you start with action. You do the thing first, and the energy or better mood often follows. Even something small like doing a 15-minute workout or making a call that you've been avoiding, that can create a noticeable shift. And here's the part we seem to forget. Avoiding discomfort doesn't actually make it go away, just makes it louder. When you avoid something over and over, your brain learns, oh, that must be dangerous. And suddenly the thing that you're avoiding feels even scarier. But when you face it, when you show your nervous system that you can survive it, the fear starts to shrink. You start to rewire what you believe about yourself. Discomfort also has a long history in spiritual practice. Silence, stillness, fasting, pilgrimage. These aren't random rituals. They're ways of stripping back all of the noise so that you can actually hear what's underneath. Because when you're uncomfortable, you're not distracted. You're right here in this moment. And for a second, your thoughts slow down and your awareness sharpens, and you stop reaching for the next dopamine hit and just be. You're training your brain to stay, to observe instead of react, to tolerate discomfort instead of escaping it. And the more you do that, the more it rewires how you think and feel in ways you start to notice in your everyday life. Discomfort becomes the practice, and presence becomes the reward. For me, it happened through a series of big leaps. Each one was scarier than the last, but each one also was building my capacity for the next. First, there was a 10-day silent retreat. 10 days, no phone, no talking, no distractions, just me and my thoughts and nowhere to hide from them. Then I started posting on YouTube, which, if you've ever hit publish on something personal, you know that feeling of nausea mixed with adrenaline. And then came the story slam. Over 200 people in the audience and me on stage with a mic delivering a 5-minute story I'd memorized. And when I walked off that stage, I felt like I had unlocked this part of myself I didn't even know was in there. I felt unstoppable. Like if I could do that, I could take on anything. It lit something in me, this craving to see what else I could face head on. So I booked a one-way ticket and decided to walk the Camino de Santiago, a 500-mile pilgrimage across Spain. Just me, my backpack, and weeks of physical challenge, solitude, and unknowns. But these moments didn't come out of nowhere. They were the result of doing uncomfortable thing after uncomfortable thing until discomfort started to feel more like a doorway instead of a wall. Each time I stayed with discomfort, whether it was sitting in silence, hitting publish on a video, or standing on that stage, it was kind of like I was casting a vote for the person I wanted to become. Someone brave, someone grounded, someone who didn't run. And what shocked me the most is that my brain felt so much better, clearer, calmer, sharper. So, how do you actually start working with discomfort in your own life? It doesn't have to be big. You don't have to walk across Spain or give a speech to 200 people. Just start small. Do the one thing you've been putting off because it makes you nervous or uncomfortable. Or take a cold shower, or sit in silence for 5 minutes instead of reaching for your phone. Try something new and let yourself be bad at it. The goal isn't to suffer, it's to stretch. It's to build the capacity to stay present even when it's uncomfortable. You'll know it when you feel it. It's that subtle resistance, that urge to escape, to delay, or distract. That's your doorway. And the more often you walk through it, the more your brain learns you can. So, what does this mean for you? It means if you've been feeling stuck or foggy or restless, maybe the answer isn't to make life easier. Maybe it's to let it stretch you just a little, not to break you, but to build you, to remind your brain and your body that you can do hard things. And on the other side of that discomfort is clarity and confidence and energy and momentum. Not all at once, but moment by moment, every time you choose to stay instead of run. That's how we rewire. That's how we grow. And that's why discomfort isn't your enemy. It's the fuel your brain has been waiting for. So if you want a tiny hit of discomfort right now, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you really want to push yourself, subscribe. I promise it's less scary than it sounds. Thanks for watching.